All right. Hello, everybody. September 8th.
Oh, boy.
It's time,
Hang on.
time for our September heat wave, which has arrived right on time.
Wow.
I
Yeah.
hear there's a hurricane heading your way.
Yeah. Hurricane K is on her way, and we're feeling the effects already.
And maybe
Oh,
get some rain.
Yeah. It's supposed to rain really hard tomorrow.
Wow.
At least they're talking about it possible. I haven't looked at it in the last probably 24 hours, but prior to that, it was set to actually come in through San Diego.
Oh, wow.
They usually
Wow.
don't come up that high, but our water has been incredibly warm up here, and that's kind of what spurs those hurricanes.
Yeah, it'll be good to wash off the boat.
Yeah. I was out last week, and we were in 77-degree water off Catalina.
Wow.
So that's
that's
pretty
really hot.
that's pretty warm for our waters, and it's nothing but getting hotter. You know, there's been several back-to-back hurricanes down in the Mexico area that have been pushing that water up, but now this one is going to come right on through and push it all the way up.
Wow.
So,
Wowee, Kazowie, 77 degrees. That'll start killing fish.
oh no, actually what it does is it brings all the good stuff I like to catch right up to my back door.
Oh, well, that's good for you.
Yeah, I'm just hoping it doesn't get too warm and push them all the way up north and right past me.
Don't worry, Johnny.
They'll
You'll
be
get your fill.
They'll be back, right?
You can follow the tails, the tail trail.
Well, the cool thing is I know if they pass to the north, they will come back. They will pass this way again.
Exactly.
But we should have a good long summer season from what it looks like. They're actually talking about El Nino returning as well.
Wow.
That could bring us a lot of rain next season and a lot more fish. So hey, I'm all for that. I'm all for anything that brings fish close to my boat. Because I've talked to these fish before, and they all really want to go for a ride on Limbo Land. They really do.
They want to support the life of someone making a difference.
Yeah, they're dying to get on board. All right. Well, one thing I wanted to let you guys know, we talked about the solo ads again last week, and I've put that stuff up in your members area now. So there's the solo email provider list is in there of where to go, who to go to. Who was it? Oh man, I forget his name. Our guy in Hawaii. Oh, I should know his name. He's been with me forever.
Jay Williams?
No, not Jay. He's
in Greece.
Yeah.
Robert Kiyosaki.
No. But anyway, he had sent me a training video that he had gotten off of YouTube that was solo ads too, and I put that up as well.
Oh, good.
There's a whole resource center there focused on solo ads. I also added one for bulk email. I know some people are looking to scale, and bulk email is a really good way to scale, but it's a really hard way to scale on your own, because it's a bulk email is a tough industry. It's not something you really want to try on your own because of reputation of your mail server. You could really do a lot of damage to your domain and all that. But if you're trying to advertise for things that are outside the norm, like SEO, for instance, you know, you can't just go to Google and say, hey, I want to buy some SEO ads, right? They don't like that. But bulk email providers, they don't care. Solo email providers, they don't care. They've built lists of people. So if they have a list that matches what you want to offer, you're good to go. You need to get permission from no one.
Hey, John, just a quick clarification.
Sure.
a bulk email provider, they send the email on your behalf. Is that right? Or do they just rent you a list and you have to put it into your product and send it yourself?
Yes, yes, and yes. There's all types of them. There's some that will actually do the whole thing for you. They have the list, they'll craft the emails, they'll make the landing pages, the whole bit.
My concern is solely they have a list, great, but if we send and then get some bounces, which is what are we going to do? Just point to them and say it's their fault. Don't mess up our.
Well,
our campaign?
here's the thing. They're in a bulk email provider. They're using their mail channels to send your mail. Very similar to a solo email provider. You know, they're using their email to send your mail, basically.
All right, that's what I was looking for. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Now there are some. There's what's called list providers. You can go to a list provider, a list broker. They're actually called list brokers. And these guys have really good lists. They're not cheap, but they're actually really good lists. If you go to a bulk email provider, their lists probably aren't going to be that good, but they make it up in volume because that's what they do. You know, they're not very picky. If they can get somebody where they've identified, you know, an activity, a particular activity, they're building lists that way, which is, you know, not the best way to build a list, but that's why they call them bulk email providers. Now, a list broker, he should be generating very, very specific lists, hopefully of people that have actually opted in for particular things. So there's a lot of different qualities, you know, in the pyramid here, and a lot of different types of providers. There's also providers of bulk mail services if you want to send your own. But if you do that, if you decide to go that route, and you know, your head's harder than mine is. Mine's pretty soft. I don't like to bang it on the walls too hard. But providing all those things, one of the things you do not want to do is you do not want to use your money domain in those bulk emails. You know, get a different domain. Like if I were to do it, I would not do it on Internet Dominators. I might get, you know, Internet Dominators marketing, something that was a throwaway. It could be easily identifiable, but not something I've built my whole empire on. That way, if it gets cooked, okay, so be it. Just go to the next one. So the other thing that can happen too, and this is, you know, this is not out of the norm, not out of the ordinary at all, is let's say you send bulk email, it's against every provider out there. Like if you have a hosting account, even a GoDaddy account, if you get somebody, the wrong person gets this email and they can cause a lot of trouble. Just one person can cause you a lot of trouble by sending complaints into the right places. So worst case scenario, you get some renegade that wants to make your life a living hell, you could potentially lose your domain registry. You could lose your hosting account. You could lose your Kartra account. You know, you could lose everything and get sued in the process. So be very, very careful if you're going to ever try and do email on your own. You might want to call and do a private consult with me to just make sure you don't get in too much trouble. But one of the providers I put up, the company is called Send in Bulk, and I have not used them yet, but everything they say, everything that, you know, that I'm researching on them tells me that they're probably a pretty good bet, and I'm probably going to give them a try here pretty soon.
Are they Send in Bulk is through Kartra, John?
No, it has nothing to do with
Oh.
Kartra. Nothing at
It's
all.
like sendinbulk.com.
Yeah, I put it up in the members area, their phone numbers in there. They don't run. Here's a perfect example. They don't run on domains. They don't have like a website to send you to because they've probably burnt it down. So they have a phone number. Jim, you had something? Nope, you're muted out.
So rather than using Summit Business Marketing, I would use newdomain.com. Do you set up a separate email
Yes,
as well? Okay.
Yeah. They usually have you set up multiple domains for the email so they don't have to send it all down one channel. They can split it up. And the other thing about email too is if you buy a new domain and you send a bunch of mail down that domain just all hot and heavy, that's going to trigger a flag, and it's probably going to just get shut down almost immediately. So
Yeah.
there's a warm-up process of how
So I'm
you
guessing you do the new domain, new email that's domain specific, and then a landing page and autoresponder.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you set all that stuff up and you want to filter them out. You want to protect the kingdom. You don't want to send bulk email that says, yeah, go over to internetdominators.com and buy this. No, you want to put up a firewall in front of it. You basically, what you're trying to do with bulk email is you're trying to take this massive bulk list and it's a funnel. You're trying to squeeze it down into your own proprietary list of people that are your ideal clients.
And
So-
then you have permission to follow up with them because they've opted
Absolutely.
in. Yeah.
Absolutely. Once they opt into your system, then you can start communicating with them. So with bulk, you're not really trying necessarily to sell them right out of the gate. Although you can, I see that, I see it a lot. If it's a good offer and it's a cheap offer, like you'll see bulk email with stuff like cable providers, cell phone providers. It's a low cost acquisition, but then that customer is going to be with them for a long, long time. Again, lifetime value. They can afford to spend a bunch of money to acquire that customer, because how long are you going to buy cable? Right? I know with new technology, that might be a loaded question, but you get the idea. It's a membership site that technically you'll use for the rest of your life. Those are really, really good types of businesses. When you acquire a customer that lasts a lifetime, that's a kind of opportunities that I look for. Like when I put on my goggles to look at a new business opportunity, that's the first thing I say is, is this a one-shot deal, or, am I going to have to work my ass off after the fact to make anything else out of this? Or is this going to be somebody that's going to be a lifetime high value client? So if they are, you can afford to spend more. And, and the traffic guys, Perry and all these guys that are spending like buku bucks to buy customers, that's what they look at. It's how much can I afford to acquire this customer? And I guarantee you, this is one of their sayings: he who can spend the most to acquire a customer is going to win. The competitor really doesn't have a chance if you're willing to spend more than they are to acquire a customer. So you can literally put people out of business this way. And I know, that doesn't sound very nice, putting people out of business. It's but I guarantee you, if you are a business owner and you're in business and you're entrepreneurial, you've got a little bit of competitiveness in you. I can almost assure you. If you don't, it might be you're looking at over the fence and the grass looks greener on the other side, but you don't really want to go over there. And that happens too. But business is competitive. It's a game, it's just like a football game. Somebody's going to win and somebody's going to lose. It's not like the kids are being taught these days that everybody's a winner. You are not. There's going to be a shitload of losers in business, and it's way more than 1-to-1. If you had the odds on a football field of, hey, I'm going to win or lose 1-to-1, that's great. I'd take that any day. But you're in a business where you're against millions of people. Millions of people every day starting businesses, hoping to survive. That's what you're up against. There's so many people out there competing for the dollars that you're competing for. It's literally cutthroat. And when you get somebody in your arena that knows what they're doing, it's even worse. That's what Perry's talking about. Any arena he walks into, he feels sorry for the competitors because he's going to hurt them. And they're not going to know what happened because they don't really understand business. You know, he went into, it was the candle making business. And he literally wiped out family businesses that had been in that business for 20, 30, 40 years. He destroyed them. And he felt bad after the fact, but it was proof to his point that wherever he shows up, he's going to win and somebody's going to lose. So, you know, it's like dating. It's like war. The stuff relates to a lot of stuff in life. It's, you know, you don't walk onto the battlefield knowing you're going to die, right? If you walk on there, you want to have every hope that you're going to make it across the field. Right?
Marines say, let the other countrymen die for their country. They're supposed to live.
Yeah.
That's the Marines motto. You live, let everybody else die for their country.
Yeah. And, you know, and how do they do that? They do that with proper leadership. You know, you have a chain of command. You have a general that's commanding that army. You know, if he's a good general, his troops are going to go out on the field with confidence. If he's not, they might not even go at all. So, you know, and like dating, you know, nobody wants to go out and fail at dating, right? No, Jim says, hell no. So what do? You learn, you prepare, you make sure that everything is in your favor to have a favorable outcome. Right, Jim? You take a shower, right? Take that little bit of extra effort.
Yeah, a little Old Spice.
Maybe brush those teeth. You know, all the shit you normally wouldn't do. No. But seriously, there are things that you do to prepare for a favorable outcome, and business is no different. If you're not preparing your business for a favorable outcome, you're probably not going to get one. If you haven't been doing that in the past, you probably aren't seeing the results. So, you know, it's all the same. It all relates. So I guess the moral to the story is think the stuff out. You know, does it make sense? You are the general. You know, you're the general for your company. And in the case of advertising, your soldiers are your dollars. You're sending your soldiers out onto the battlefield. You know, if you don't have a way to convert, they're going to die. They ain't coming home. They're going to get collected up in someone else's body bag, and it's going to be left on foreign soil. You know, that's not the way we fight a war. And so anyway, I don't want to go too deep into the war analogies, but you guys get the point, right?
Yeah.
All right, Jim.
Got to unmute again. Last week you shared some great nuggets from the conference, and I'm sure Perry's input was part of that. What are some of the principles, the keys, the secrets, the tips that Perry shared that makes him so dominant?
Well, the thing about Perry is knowledge. Knowledge is the thing that gives him confidence. And they all said it almost, if not every one of the speakers that took the stage, almost everyone said the same thing. And the thing was, you have to be prepared to spend a fair amount of money to play this game. You know, they were talking about you can't just go into this with a 1-month budget. You can't go in to try and figure something out with $10 a day. You know, unless you want to just spend the rest of your life and it's a hobby. They go in with large amounts of cash. In some cases, it's not theirs, it's their clients. And, you know, when you work, this is a differentiation between you working with small clients and working with large clients. Large clients have the budget to fund a war. And part of the war is research. And part of the advertising, part of the figuring out the conversion mechanisms and in the ad campaigns and all that, that's research. So when you work for a big company, they don't mind you spending frivolously, what might look like frivolous spending, to get them to a point of high profitability. They have the money, they know they need to spend it, and they're willing to. It's almost like, you know, when we're looking for that market segment, that profitable market segment, it's the same thing. These guys have the money, they see the value, they're willing to spend the money to get the value. If you're working with a small company and you don't have the metrics and you're going to have to figure it out, they don't have the budget, they're not willing to go in the hole, and they don't want to do this. What does that sound like? Not a dream client. It sounds like a freaking nightmare. So that's the difference between when you're trying to sell advertising to a small business versus a big business. It's like the little guy, if he hasn't done this before and he doesn't get it, I use this analogy of he's going to be cutting his teeth on you like a baby. You know, when a baby cuts their teeth, they're an absolute nightmare. Well, you're going to be doing that and you're the teething ring. So, you know, you're better off if you're going to play the big traffic game and you want to do ad buys and all that stuff. It's really rewarding, highly lucrative, but there's that hurdle, there's that barrier to entry. So, you know, and again, you know, they talk about it as an investment in clients. You're looking to acquire clients. Back to Perry's thing. How much can I afford to spend to acquire a customer? And the more that you have there, the bigger your budget is, the more successful you're going to be.
John,
Yeah,
I'm just going to mention Travis Media, the ones that do the one of the two companies that everybody knows that does viral ad videos that are funny that you would recognize. Harmon Brothers being the other. Travis specifically says in their kind of info ad that they're looking for businesses that have already attained $1 to $2 million in annual revenue, and they'll take them to 10 and 20 million in annual.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Well, that's where, you know, with my resellers, when I'm training resellers, I always told them my favorite customer is the manufacturer between $2 and $10 million in revenue. If it's below that, they're not there yet. If it's above 10, then you got a lot of bureaucracy in the company already. You're no longer dealing with the owner. You kind of missed that sweet spot. But if you can get in there in that 2 to 10 and you can help them go from the 2 to the 10 or from 10 to 20 to 50, you become part of the family. And you've earned your place in that company forever. It's a really sweet thing. It really is. You know, you get there too early, you're a teething ring. You get there too late, it's just nobody wants you. You're like the stepchild that you know, with the broom sweeping the chimney. You're Cinderella without the good outcome. So that's kind of the metrics for that, if you will. There's definitely metrics for that business of offering services to you know, to corporations. And for me, that's what I found. I found 2 to 10. That's where I wanted to be. That was just like getting in a cradle and getting rocked to sleep. Because remember, I got a little softness up here and I don't like to bang my head too hard. That works on both ends of the scale. Too small and too big. And I was also going to update you guys. I have not gotten the videos back yet from the traffic conference. They're supposed to technically be here this week. So we got another day in the week to go. We'll see if they come through. I know a lot of the promises that were made, and I didn't say anything about this before, but there was some promises made to the folks at the conference that were just completely glazed over. Like, and I don't care. I mean, this makes no difference whatsoever to me. But if you tell a group of people you're going to do something, I think you probably should do it. Right? It's a good idea. Well,
Yes.
in all of their sales literature, they said there was going to be cash prizes for people that were in their seats at certain times. That wasn't even mentioned. There was not once. There was also a big grand prize thing that was supposed to be given out on the last day at the, right before you were released. Again, not even a mention.
And I would bring that shit up. Get your money back.
And again, I don't care.
This
Because
war.
that's not what I was there for. But another thing that was also mentioned in the sales literature was certificates of completion. Now, again, I don't give a rat's ass whether I have a certificate or not, but who knows? Some people might have looked at that and said, where's my certificate?
Hey, John,
Yeah.
how you doing? Long time no see. I see you, but I'm doing something. I'm putting on my makeup, so I wasn't showing my face. But I found some mistakes, let's say, in the ad I'm doing for the live event. I say small live event that I'm doing. Okay.
Okay.
So I sent you a preliminary, and I'm making some changes because I realized a couple of things did not happen. However, speaking about the incentives, how much does that matter if they say they're going to do it and they do it? Prior to that, does that help get butts in seats?
Well, your incentives to get them there definitely matter.
Okay.
There's
Because
some,
I didn't
some-
put that in there yet, but I'm going to.
because here's the thing, when you're talking about a conversion, you getting a butt in a seat is a conversion, just like making a sale.
Right.
And for you to make a sale, sometimes you need that little extra push to close the deal. So
Okay.
it's the same thing. It's the same thing even with an opt-in to give out a free thing. Sometimes the free bonus will be the kicker that makes the conversion.
So then one final question on that note. Does the money back guarantee, with some stipulations, of course, is that another additional, oh, okay, take the risk out of it? And do you stand behind that?
Yes, absolutely. I stand behind anything I say. If I
No,
tell
no,
you,
I mean, no, I don't mean that. I mean, is that something you say that you would do all the time?
yes, absolutely. There's no reason not to offer a money back guarantee unless value has been already exchanged. I mean, there's points to where you might want to draw the line. But
Right.
if you're using it as a risk reversal, here's what it's going to do to your numbers. It's going to get more people to convert. You might get some refunds, but if you look at the refunds that you give back versus the amount more sales you made, it's going to outweigh it.
Got it. Okay.
So it will help your numbers overall, even if you give refunds. Some of the guys, some of the big traffic guys, the guys that are really hardcore, I'm not going to mention any names, But what they will tell you is if they're not getting 10% refund rate, they're not pushing hard enough. Now, me
Oh, okay.
personally, I do not believe in that. I do not think anyone should get a 10% refund rate.
Okay.
I don't believe in pushing people into stuff that they don't want, they don't need.
Right.
I think it should be an absolutely irresistible offer. I think the refund offer should be there just as a guarantee, just to take any, any risk off their part, any doubt out of their part that it works. Because when you tell somebody you'll give them their money back, you're pretty much telling them, hey, I know this works.
Okay. Great.
That's what you're saying. If you're saying, no, I don't give money back. No. That just changed the way it came up to the picture.
Right. And what I was looking at is not so much that one particular thing works. I was looking at the information that I'm sharing, the blueprint that I'm giving you, blah, 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 works if you use it.
Yeah.
And the information is good.
Correct. So here's something that's worked really well for me in the past, and I've seen this work for a lot of other people. If let's say you're going to try and sell them on a service or a consult or something of a big value, what you can do is you can make your offer where it's an application offer where they have to apply. And to apply, it could be $100, it could be $1,000, it could be whatever. The application fee will keep the tire kickers out.
Got it.
And then what happens, and the way you put the offer out there is you say, here's how this is going to work. The application is for us to make sure we're a good match, because neither one of us want to get into a relationship that's not good. So you're being totally honest with them. You're being upfront. You're creating a trust bond right here and now by doing this. And then you say, okay, so here's how it's going to go down. We're going to have a 15-minute consultation where, we go over the program, we go over your needs, we go over how the program works. And if at any time during that 15 minutes, either you or I discover this isn't right, I'm just going to give you your money back. And you just take that as a free consult for the 15 minutes. That's kind of the way to package that. Then you say, if it's right, I'm going to take your application fee and I'm going to put that towards your purchase. So now the application fee becomes free. The first 15-minute consult becomes free. And now we've decided we're going to work together.
Got it. Okay.
So that has worked really well for me and many, many others by doing that. It also allows you to go into a sales presentation completely under the radar. Like when I do this for the Site Pop thing, when I call it a local SEO boost service, I say the first thing I have to do is evaluate your site to make sure you qualify. During that process, if their site doesn't qualify, guess what? I'm getting a redevelopment project out of them. They want me to fix their site so it qualifies, right? So now I've got a web development project. Now I can move them over to our servers that are faster that will help them optimize their site. So now I have a hosting customer. So you see how now I've just turned this into a long-term ongoing customer that's going to be with me forever.
Got it.
Before I even got to the thing that they decided that they wanted to begin with. And along the way, I've become a trusted advisor. They're going to take anything I say as gospel, and they'll probably wind up just doing it.
Got it. Okay.
The one thing you want to be careful of is don't always refer all your own stuff. Have a stable of products wrapped around your industry that you can refer others out. That makes them trust you even more. And it also it'll set up a relationship where before they buy anything in the future, they will come to you and ask you about it first and let them know that they can do that.
Yeah.
Because if that's the case and you've got the stable of things that they're going to need, you're going to have what they want already. They're going to come to you. You're going to provide them an affiliate referral.
Right. So what happens if that one, let's just say, what happens if inside your barn or your toolbox, all of your affiliates come under one or two umbrellas? Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Under one or two umbrella, you mean you've just got one or two different ones? Is that what you mean?
Well, okay, so I don't want to be facetious, but let's just say you offer multitudes of options, things that you can do for people. So if we're just beginning and we're in your barn and we have you as a connection that offers other things, and we know that our people need that, for example, as a page, how do you present that in a way that continues to give you credibility where they come to you, but also your services as an example where I can solve their problem through you?
Okay, so
Does that make any sense or is that not making sense?
kind of you're very
John, would you
garbled.
repeat that? His mic's so hot.
Yeah, Richard, I got it. Yeah, you came through very garbled, but I think I got kind of the gist of it.
Okay.
So you've got a stable of stuff to refer. You only want to refer stuff out at the time when it's needed. You don't want to
Okay.
just unload on them. You also want to position yourself as, hey, I know all the people in this industry. If you ever are interested in anything, just ask me first.
Okay, got it. That's what I,
Run it past me. Yeah.
okay, so is that, am I coming through clearer now? Because I'm on my phone.
Yeah, you're but much better now. But
Oh, okay.
you ultimately want to be the trusted advisor. You want
Right.
to be the person that they think of when they need something, whether you
Okay.
have it or not.
All right, thank you. Got it.
So that's
And then race to call you to find out how to.
well, everybody's going to be different. You're all going to have different referral sources in every different industry.
Right. Okay, I got it.
But that also it comes down to the timeline of your customer. They're going down, and timeline is a multitude of different things. Timeline could be their entire life. Their entire
Right.
life is a timeline, and
Right.
there's a bunch of different milestones throughout that lifetime that things are going to be interesting to them. There's going to be times when they're in retirement mode. There's going to be times when they're in aggressive growth mode. There's going to be times when they're, building a family mode. So depending on where they are in that timeline, you can have affiliate offers that you can drop in at any time. Because for the vast majority of people, when you have your avatar and you've figured out your avatar, you're usually only micro focused on who he is right now.
Right.
But you know what your transformation is going to turn him into. And you know what he's going to ultimately want to become. So that gives you now the vision to find everything he's going to need and make money off of it. It's so much easier to make money for your whole lifetime by doing that than providing your own products and services. Your products and services are only to acquire customers.
Yeah.
There's so much more money left on the table from people that don't look at the lifetime value of their customers. All they look at is what they provide them. They don't look at what else they need.
You said that to us before too.
Yeah, it's so true. It's like your customers are going to buy so much shit during their lifetime that you don't have and you don't want to make, but why not make a little money off of it? And why not be their trusted advisor?
Yeah, makes total sense.
So John, I'm gonna just real quick circle back to, and then Randy, obviously, if you have any more, please feel free. I just want to do that reaction to what you said about that conference where they promised the butt in seat cash prize and then the big cash prize at the end. And my thought is, okay, here we are. It's pick one of the members that you see on the screen, right? Let's say me, and we're going to hold a conference and invite people. And I have no money to offer cash prizes, but that doesn't dissuade me. I just go ahead and advertise cash prizes. And then I just don't do it. It seems to me, and I give good conference. I give good info. They're blown away. Wow, that was really knowledgeificationizing. But it seems to me that the word of mouth about my conference isn't going to be the great knowledge I imparted. It's going to be, where the hell were those cash prizes? And that's just going to burn this whole idea of lifetime value of what you said, because I'm just going to get this reputation.
Yeah, and I mean, let me just show you what I'm talking about here. So this was the advertisement for the weirdest event ever. And it's interesting. Perry realized that Facebook was the biggest pain in people's ass. So that's what he led with, is Facebook advertising murdering your business, right? So that's what he led off with. That didn't really grab my attention. The only reason I read further was because it was Perry. You know, in here, session 1, viral social traffic. Didn't catch my attention. I could care less. Let's see. Session 2, native advertising. This one caught my attention. Native advertising is like an advertorial. It's like where your information shows up as though it's a not an ad, but an article inside something, you know, of high value. So I'm like, I've heard these guys talk about this. I wanted to see, you know, where they're doing it and all that. So that was the thing that grabbed my attention first. And then, you know, this learn how to buy remnant ad space for pennies on the dollar. That again got me leaning in. This one here, YouTube ads. I've been wanting to know how to do that. I know this guy. I tried to hire him a couple of years ago and he was just outrageously expensive. His name's Alaric. So I wanted to see, you know, this thing says he was going to show actually how they do it. So I wanted to see, you know, okay, how difficult is this? Retargeting, that's always a great one. This one here, this was, if there was nothing else on the page and this was all that was there, I would have gone for this. So this was like my club over the head of, okay, forget the rest of this conference. This is what I want. I'm going for this. This was another one, affiliate bonus session, you know, talking about how to create an affiliate army. You guys know how I like affiliates, right? So again, there was a lot of appeal for me in this. There was a handful of the sessions I couldn't care less about, but okay. And then here's another big claim: having one traffic source is business suicide. It's like if you, let's say you get really good at Facebook ads and you're making money and Facebook changes, Facebook kicks you out, they close your account, suicide. You know, if you only know how to do SEO and all your traffic's through SEO and Google decides to change its algorithm, suicide. So that's a valid statement. Okay. You get all supported materials, maps, frameworks, canvases. Haven't seen that yet. The awards party, then and the dinner mixer, that was an additional fee. Okay. $2,000 bonus. Okay, that's the videos and the videos from the last events, which we're supposed to get those this week. Oh, here we go. 10,000 in cash. Vintage guitar. Never saw a guitar.
So the weird means weirdly they didn't do what they said.
Possible. Yeah. I'm gonna ask Perry about this at some point when I see him. I'm like, hey, how'd that work out? Here's the certificates. Certificate of completion. No mention of any of this stuff.
Hey, John, take a look at how he worded that ad, though. It's very carefully written that he's not giving away 10,000 in cash.
Let's see.
I'll be giving away some amazing prizes worth over 10,000 during the event, mostly vintage guitars and other prizes.
Yeah, but there was no mention of anything.
But it does say 10,000 in cash on the actual
Yeah.
graphic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but look at it. It's got a comma behind it. 10,000 in cash, vintage guitars and more. Those bullet
so-
points aren't punctuation.
It could
Yeah.
be $1 in cash, comma,
Nick.
$10,000 guitar.
Yep, that's the way I read it.
Yeah.
Very, very carefully written.
And then he even says here, wouldn't it be cool? I'll even sign it if you want me to. But I probably wouldn't if I were you. I'd keep it nice. It's like,
It looks like an afterthought, to be honest.
It's great wording though. Come on.
you know what I
It's
actually
very carefully worded, guys. It really is. It's like it's like the guy that was giving away a Toyota,
yeah.
the newspaper station or whatever it was, or a radio station or whatever that was giving away the Toyota. And when they came in, whoever won, they got like a Yoda doll from Star Wars.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
check this one out. You'll get certificates and awards. There's no mincing of words there, right?
Nope.
At the end of the event, you will receive a certificate and award. No mincing of words there. Top performers, those who take the most action will get fast action awards as well as other prizes.
Yeah, that could be like if you buy another whatever he's throwing down, if you take fast action, you get the bonuses within the fast action purchase. You know how that is.
Yeah. But I actually think this was a sales page from something else that he copied and just forgot to take that stuff
Gotta
out.
love, you'll never get screwed by another media when he's screwing you. Go down more, yeah.
Yeah, I saw that one.
No, is that,
Never
oh my
get
God,
screwed by
that
Anita Buyer again when you can get screwed right here, right now.
Allie, that is great.
This is why I'm glad you have the courage to invest in his stuff, but he's always been such a sleazeball. I went to his something, John, like 15 years ago, and he didn't keep his word then. And it was only like $200, one of those 197.
And it's not just him. They all do it. But
Not everybody, but
I just thought I would throw that out there.
you don't do it.
No, I guess I don't.
Hey, John, there
But
was some of the,
everybody that comes to your stuff knows you, though.
Yeah.
some of the wording on there, I just wanted to say, is so visceral, so visual and emotional. Murdered your business. There were a couple of others that he used in there that really stood out to me. Right. Michelle said suicide.
Mhm.
Another thing too is this prompt, and I know this is sex, but it says, imagine that, and he gave an example, female knew she was, or Google knew she was pregnant before she did by her online activity.
Mhm.
Right. And I was thinking to myself, oh, you mean who she looks up, where she visits, and where she drives to, and aggregate that? And
Well, that was the awesome part about Performance Max is it's doing just that. It's looking at every step that you take before making a purchase or taking an action. And then it's looking at other people around the world that are taking those same steps, and it's coming to raw conclusions based on data. And it's very, very powerful. Some would say it's scary. I just think it's awesome because
Did you say raw or wrong?
raw data.
Raw fish.
They're
not wrong.
coming up with these raw conclusions. They're not cooked, they're raw, but they're very, very powerful. And if you look at it, if you take the privacy thing out, which you don't have any privacy, I hate to be the one to break the bad news to you, but that don't live in America anymore. And it's a sad thing to say that, but it really doesn't. Everything that you do is known, and again, that's just a pretty shitty thing to come out and say or admit, but it's true. But the fact that you're in business and you're in business to acquire customers, and to think about having the power at your fingertips to acquire customers using data in that way is probably the most breakthrough thing I've ever even heard of. Like the idea that if you took everybody that's ever purchased your product and Google's big data goes back and it looks at their path to get there, what did they do before this? What did they do before they even knew they wanted it? How did they become reticularly activated to it? And taking that information and using it for you to acquire customers, that's pretty freaking powerful. To be able to look at everyone in the world and see who's taking those same steps, who doesn't know they need you yet, and being able to bring your ad in front of them. Holy shit. I mean, that's just mind-blowing. And that's what Google's Performance Max is all about. So it's not coming, it's here. They're using it already. And there's a lot of stuff that the guy that was talking about it, I forget his name, it's a funky name, but you guys will know it soon enough when I get all the recordings and get to go through that information again. He's kind of like a savant. He knew as much about this as I know about SEO. Seriously, he really knew his shit. And some of the stuff that I tell you is based on me actually really knowing. And same thing with this guy. And he said there's many things that Google denies. They absolutely deny, but it's real. And one of the things is that they're listening to everything, and I hear this almost every day from somebody. They said, I was talking to somebody about this and then ads started showing up, and they never ran a search. They never had any search history of that thing, whatever it was, but they just merely said it. You've got devices in your home, you've got devices in your pocket, you got devices on your desk, and they're listening.
A few years ago, I think, John, you guys were in another mastermind together, and about, I don't know, maybe 4 years ago, I know you were there. I had, Rich had spoken to someone. Anyway, the bottom line is, I had said to Craig in front of everybody, we were in the amphitheater thing, and I said, if you really want to talk business and discuss your new ideas, we would all have to leave our cell phones turned off in our cars. And everybody was like, so yesterday or the day before, I read an article that Google now has the ability, Google's and AI, to, they call it intrusive and non-intrusive predictive behavior. So the intrusive stuff is when they have, like, you have your phone's on, or you're microchipped, or and they're saying, oh, we want to develop this for medicine so we could microchip you and help you get healthy. But that being said, that's just the front. So, and then non-intrusive is that exactly what you're talking about. They're following every path you've ever taken anywhere, and all of it. It was just mind blowing because it's already game on. So like my entire life since I've had a cell phone, they now have the ability to go back and track and then crunch numbers for people that are doing this. And so, yeah, it melted my mind and it made me a little scared, but that's what's going on.
Yeah, most people think that this has been going on since 2015.
No.
That would be 7 years of data. It's been going on a lot more than that, because when I first found out about it, when I first found out that Google knew everything was in 2006. And the way I found out, I know most of you have heard this, but I'll say it again. I had a proprietary document that I had created that was for my eyes only. It was everything I knew about search, everything I knew about Google and how to manipulate it. And no one had ever seen this document other than me. And I wanted to protect it. So I made a password protected folder on a secure server that I owned that no one had access to. And I uploaded that document. And then I destroyed it off of my desktop. And so the only place this thing lived was inside that password protected folder on a secure server. And about a month later, I was running a search for something in Google, and I'll be damned, my document was listed. It showed up in the search results as a clickable link to view this document. I'm like, holy shit. How in the hell did Google know that document was in that folder? There was no links to it. It had never been viewed by anybody. It was in there on its own. No connection whatsoever to it. And naturally, nobody could see it because when they clicked on it, it would ask for the username and password. So it was protected from the public. But how in the Sam hell did Google even know it was there to index it was my big question. And I thought I had a security breach. So I called a friend of mine who used to do some programming for me, and he was in charge of the worldwide security for the Siemens Corporation. And I told him what had happened, and he's like, oh shit. He goes, I'll be right over. So he comes over and he brings all this equipment. He hooks it all up to my computer lines, and he's sitting across from me, across the desk from me. He's got his laptop open, and he says, all right, he goes, open up your browser. So I open up, what was it? Firefox. And, you know, he tells me, go to this site, go to that site. And I'm just doing what he's telling me. And he says, log into your bank account. And I log in, and his eyes get big. And I'm like, what's going on? He goes, Google was in your bank account before you were. And I'm like, the hell do you mean they were in my bank account before I was? And he said, they were in through your login before it was displayed to your screen. It was displayed to theirs. And I'm like, how the fuck is that possible? And he says, I don't know, but I'm going to find out. Next day, he calls me up and he said, it's safe web browsing. He said, there's a mechanism in every browser, not just Chrome, every browser, no matter what system, Mac, PC, whatever, they've all have a system inside them called safe web browsing, and Google controls it. It's like a screen door. With HTTP, what happens is your computer makes a request to another server to display a web page. There's like a handshake that happens there. One server shakes the other one, says, hi, I'm so-and-so. Hi, I'm so-and-so. I would like this document, please. Just like going into a library and asking the librarian, could I get this book? So the shake takes place, says, okay, yeah, I have that document here. I'm going to pass it through, and it goes through the screen door, which is Google Safe Web Browsing, to scan it with the pretense of protecting your computer from viruses. So it's scanned and then delivered. What that means is Google sees it before you do. So anything you've looked at through a web browser, Google's seen it before you did.
John, they also, I'm just going to mention, as we know, they also pretend they accidentally implanted microphones in the speakers, or they accidentally were processing audio and saving it down to the Google server without the OK Google there's a lawsuit for that. The Nest thermostats had secret microphones that a consumer finally found, and they went, oh, oops, we didn't know we physically designed, blueprinted, manufactured, and put in microphones in our thermostats.
Yeah.
You know, that weren't, I mean, it's just, I can't believe they can go, oopsie, that was an accident. And everybody's like, oh, just silly Google.
Yeah, no, anybody that knows anything at all about electronics knows and understands that any speaker is a microphone also.
And that was another thing they said. Now every single app you let on your phone is just a spy. They're just siphoning, they're just tracking devices, and siphoning everything.
Well,
And it's all through.
here's the thing. I don't know that I necessarily believe that so much, because there are a lot of legalities and a lot of trouble that you could get in from spying on people and privacy laws and all that stuff. Like right now, Apple and Facebook are up against it. They're having to remove a lot of their ad campaigns. A lot of the stuff that they were offering in their ad services are gone now because of this and the whole retargeting and all of that. But Google remains unbridled, which goes back to my original thing, which I had talked to Jer about when he discovered that in 2006. I'm like, I told him right then and there, when he told me safe web browsing, I said, they have cut a deal with the government because there's no way in hell that their attorneys are going to allow them that kind of exposure. There's no way. And he agreed. And we believe that they've cut some sort of a deal where they've got diplomatic immunity on this and they can collect all the data they want because they do it without any fear whatsoever.
Well, they're probably giving it to the government as a trade-off and using it to their buying power. Really, like you said, it's war, and there you have it.
Yeah. And they're, you know, and this is the kind of data that's going into, and they've been collecting since 2006. So they have a massive amount of human consumer data of what people do, how they do it, why they do it, how many times they do it, all of that. So from a client acquisition point of view, if you want to hunt a rat and you know everything a rat's going to do during every day of his life, it's pretty easy to figure out where he's going to be to bring him the cheese.
Michelle and I figure that the net of it is going to be a positive for us, because if somebody points to us and says, oh, you're bad people, we can just say, really? What happens when we open your browsing history?
Yeah, exactly. I think we're all a criminal on that offense. But yeah, it sucks on one hand that, you know, our privacy is gone, but it's been gone for a long time. You know, we're coming up on probably what, 20 years now. Who knows how long they were doing it prior to me figuring it out in 2006.
Yeah, I mean, when they bombed the towers, that whole thing, I mean, there are whole like thought processes around that was all pre-designed just to pass the Patriot Act.
Yeah. Well,
that pretty much stripped us right there. For years, I tried to, you know, say revoke that piece of shit. But anyway, yeah, that wiped out our privacy and the Constitution changed on that day.
Yeah, but what you can do, there's a lot of stuff, there's nothing you can do about it. But what you can do is you can take the information available at hand and you can use it to your benefit. Like that is the way that we developed our Rainmaker product in the beginning, which is now SitePop. Me knowing that they were watching just told me, I can feed the beast what I want him to know. I can train him. So it gave me a direct line to IVN the information I wanted him to have. So, you know, wherever there's a dark cloud, you can always use that, you know, for your own sunshine. So, and in our case, this Performance Max, the Sunshine, whether you decide to use it or not, is very powerful. And it's in client acquisition. So if you need more clients, you can take the evil and turn it on yourself for good, because you can't turn the evil off. It's either you use it or you don't.
Either you use it or you get used by it.
Yeah, and to not use it, it's just it's kind of hard to imagine not wanting to use that to your benefit, whether it was for yourself or I got to tell you, if somebody's looking for something to do right now and you don't have a viable plan, a viable business plan, a viable opportunity that you see, this is a massive opportunity to go in and research and figure out how to run Google Max campaigns and run those for people that desperately need clients. It's client acquisition. That is going to be worth a ton of money in the future, because you're talking about an ad campaign that actually works, actually converts, actually has value. I know a ton of people that have spent a bunch of money paying people to set up Facebook ads, paying people to run Google pay-per-click campaigns that never got any return out of them. Google knows what the people will click on, so it writes the ads for you. It knows what they engage in videos, so it creates videos for you. We're talking about some crazy, powerful shit here. Figuring that out, like I said, if you didn't have anything to do and you were looking for a business opportunity, there's one of probably the best ones I've ever seen right there. People will pay you handsomely to acquire customers for them. So if you can figure out how to use Google's machine to do that for other people, you could make a really, really good living off it.
Does Google train you?
They do not. I think half of what's in Performance Max, they deny exists. Maybe more than half.
Got it.
But,
So
but
other than
that's
going to
understood.
Google itself to get more information on Performance Max, how can we find out more about it?
It's almost like SEO. There is no manual. They're not going to hand you over the keys to the kingdom. It's going to be figuring it out. And like I said, this one guy, the savant guy that Perry found, that's what he's done. He's been using this. He's been perfecting it for the last couple of years. And just in this video alone, where he's showing how he sets his campaigns up, I would venture to say is probably going to give you 80% of it. The rest is going to be, trial and error, figuring it out, tinkering. There's a lot of levers to, just like SEO, there's a ton of levers to pull. You just got to figure out which ones are going to get you the most bang for the buck.
And those are the videos you're expecting?
Yeah, those hopefully, if as promised, I will have them tomorrow. I'm not holding my breath, but I'm hoping I get them at some point in the future.
If and when you get them, is that something you're going to dissect and
I'm going to try.
Go over?
I'm definitely going to try for sure.
Cool.
Because I want this probably as much as anybody.
Right.
One thing I know is I'm not going to want to do it. I'll go in as far as figuring it out, but I'm not going to want to do it. So for somebody that wants to do it, I mean, talk about a monster skill set. Talk about, being valuable to other businesses. And I'm not talking about local businesses here. I'm talking big companies pay a lot of money to get high quality client acquisition.
Right.
You could make a shitload of money off this service.
Well, as a mortgage broker realtor, I think that I could probably make a shitload of money just figuring it out for myself on how to do it. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But like you said before, John, you better be willing to throw a shit ton of money at it.
Exactly. And, it's like anything else. if you look at I'll just take a step back here. Most business owners are kind of like, they're kind of like the kids that have grown up today. They've grown up under unrealistic expectations, like everybody's a winner. I see this happening in a lot of business owners today. They're in business under very unrealistic expectations. Like, when I was growing up, business, this before the internet, I'm a little older than that. So for you to get a business, the first thing most people had to have was a lease on a building, right? Of where you were going to run this business. That's a pretty big barrier to entry. If you took all the business owners today and you told them they had to have that, they'd go, "Oh, fuck that. I'm not in business. I'm just going to go work for somebody." And then you got insurance on top of it. You got all this stuff that you literally had to have to even think about opening a business. Yeah. And they called it overhead, right? Today, today your overhead is a $9 domain from GoDaddy and a $2 hosting account from some garbage host. That's your overhead, and you're in business. Right?
So true.
How far is that going to get you? I don't know. That's probably why 96% of businesses are going to fail eventually. 80%, they say 80% will fail in 18 months. And probably having not made a dime. Given long enough, they'll spend a lot of money to figure out it's not going to work. And 96% of them will be gone, typically broken at that point. So the moral of the story is business is an investment. Business costs money to start the bigger the business, the more the overhead typically. Now, I've run a lot of lucrative businesses online in the last 20 years that cost me nothing. I mean, literally no overhead. That said, that's not normal. That's not typical. I don't think my results are typical. So if, and again, I don't know what I'm trying to say, but yeah, it's going to cost you some money to figure it out. Is it worth it? I think it is.
Performance Max sounds like perhaps the next mastermind group.
Yeah, it might well be.
Maybe you crowdsource it. You get a mastermind together and everybody spends a few bucks on a particular part, and together you learn the whole
That's what I was thinking.
That's actually a good strategy.
Assign us videos, and we can break it down for each other.
Yeah, that could be. You just say, okay, how many people want to pony up 10 grand for the budget? And, we get 10 people in there and we got $100,000 to play with to actually figure it out. And then the 10 people walk out of there with a skill set that's unheard of.
Yeah. Because from there you could produce a training course and sell that for 10 grand a pop.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And the whole group could share in the revenue stream.
All right, let's do it.
That could be an interesting concept for sure.
Okay, I'm in.
Good stuff. So there's all kind. I mean, you can cook up a business just out of thin air. So, but the thing is, they cost money, usually to figure stuff out. And like with me, how much money do you figure it would have cost me to figure out SEO? To know how much I know about SEO, what do you think it would have cost me to invest in that?
Jeez. Well, you weren't paying somebody else for the information, so probably a lot less than trying to figure out Performance Max.
but if you just think about it, the true answer is it's a negative number. How much it cost me to figure out SEO is a negative number.
True.
How is that? Because I got paid to figure it out. I figured it out on other people's money. Like when I went into a big company, I was literally looked at, in many cases referred to as a mercenary. They said, this man is here to kill shit. We're paying him to kill stuff. And that's what he's here for. That's what he's going to do. So, and that's what I did. I said, any problem I can make disappear with cash. That was kind of one of my things. You tell me where the problem was, and you feed me enough cash and I will make it disappear.
Nice.
And SEO was one of their biggest problems at the time. And I made it disappear. They paid me a lot of cash to do it.
You're like an internet hitman. the hit parade.
So, you know, and that's a business model. That is a business model. And like I said, I've had some of my business models have been very lucrative with zero overhead. That was one of them. It was negative overhead. So, and again, it's not a typical business model, but if you know it exists, you can replicate it. Basically, what I'm telling you is you could use that business model with zero overhead to run a very lucrative business. You just have to find somebody that's got a big enough problem that will pay you enough to figure out how to fix it. Just that simple. Client acquisition is a problem that's that big for a lot of people.
Huge.
Yeah, it's a massive problem. It's the problem that makes the difference between a business surviving and going under.
Definitely.
You know, there's a lot of businesses on the hairy edge right now that if they don't figure out how to make client acquisition happen in the new world, they're going to be gone.
Hi, John. I love you. You got to keep your pessimism for me to like a little 4-minute. Beyond that, I'm like, this is my motivation. This is my food. This is my yay. Look at all the things we can do.
All right. Well, where do you want to go from here?
Lunch?
Millions.
John, I've had my hand up for a while. I was wondering if.
Oh, okay. I thought you already got it out. Go ahead.
No, I was curious about. I've finally got the site pop up and running. I bought 8 phones. It turns out I need only 1 at the moment because I can run both the Bing and the Google on the same phone. Yay! So
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have to buy any more phones. But I've got it hooked up, and I can't. First off, it looks to me like it's been hooked up since the 5th. It looks like it's not doing any searches. The phone says it's running.
I just got a new box of phones here. I guess you can't see them, but that's a box of phones.
Oh, wow.
Wow. Well, I can't find where you're supposed to get a report that tells you how many searches, but everything says NA on the phone, and I don't see any place in the back end where the report is. So maybe I'm just not familiar enough with it or missing it or whatever. Could you?
When you log into the back end, let's see here. Let me see if I can find your account here.
Does the phone need to be on? In other words, does the screen have to be up and on for this to work?
It depends on the phone. If it's a cheap phone, I'm going to say yes.
That's so have lots of lights on at night when those things are just sitting there on but charging. I guess that's one good way to not have the batteries blow up if the screen's always on.
Yeah, you can have free night lights.
Put them in your basement.
Okay, found your account here. Okay, let me share the screen here and I'll show you how you. So you've got a Google and a Bing account set up. Down
Correct.
here, it says you got 500 searches allotted for this campaign and 0 have happened. And it's because you've got 0 connected devices.
I put the code in on the phone.
Are the phones connected to the Wi-Fi?
Oh, yeah.
Because if we go to devices here, it's showing no connected devices. Maybe log out and log back into it.
Well, open it up and you'll see that there's, because the phone here, well, here, let's see.
I know the log in and log out trick works because that's what we did, John.
Yeah, try
It says it says marketing assistant is running.
Well, try logging off and back in, because if the phone becomes disconnected from the internet, it will not reconnect automatically. So if you log out and log back in, that should reconnect it. But if it goes offline for any reason, then you're going to have to reconnect it.
How do I know on my end if it's gone offline?
See here, that one just connected. See, one device connected.
Okay, okay. So would I have to check that daily to make sure at the beginning of the day that all the phones are connected?
If they keep coming unbuttoned, you might. But see here, you got one. Now, you're not going to get searches today. When the device is connected, it tracks how long it was connected throughout the day, and it's scheduling searches to be delivered the following day. So you should see this number going up starting tomorrow.
Okay, well, yeah, I mean, that's why I started it on the 5th to have a few days running to see what had happened, and nothing is happening. And I actually think I logged out and logged back in once before, so it's weird.
Yeah, they need to stay connected. So check this, refresh and make sure that you've got devices connected here. And then as far as in the reporting, okay, if you go here, you can see view project, view reports. And then device counts. See, there's 0 devices connected the 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th. So that's why you don't have any searches. But there's a whole bunch of stuff in here that you can see as far as reports. There's search details, there's different keywords, all kinds of stuff to look at in there.
I missed that little hamburger thing. That's
yeah, from the dashboard. It's right there, view reports.
Okay, well, I've got I've got the same 11 keywords on both of these set up, and based on what you told me to begin building on this, I figured that those searches on the 11 names is going to give each one a few clicks, and then we're going to increase that as time goes by. That's what I understand is the correct strategy.
Yeah, the other place is under projects. If you click on projects, there's view reports right there too.
I clicked on that and got nothing, but I guess that was because the phones weren't connected.
No, it shouldn't be. This doesn't have anything to do with the phones.
Well, if you click on that, reports on your side, so you can see what I'll see what I saw.
It goes to the same spot.
Hey, John,
The device count is critical. Okay.
If the device goes down, let's just say Richard checks it every morning and he finds his phone went down for some reason, does it continually reset then? It will have to watch it for.
That's the one thing. We don't have the ability to reach out to your phone and reset it for you.
Yeah, I know, but let's say I have Richard has a phone, it goes down. and he catches it, reconnects it, does that restart the whole process? Like it will then track it for a day? Like what if it keeps going down?
Yeah, it just picks up where it left off.
Oh, okay.
Doesn't hurt anything.
So
So
it's gonna wait it, but it's gonna wait a day, right? Before it does. So if it goes off in the morning, I turn it back on, it's not gonna be till the next day. And if I go there the next day and it's off again,
That's what I'm asking.
let's say you had a few hours worth each day. It's just accounting for a few hours worth of searches on the following day. So it's just keeping track of how long you're connected, and you're getting back what you put in.
the question, I guess, this is the third time we both tried to ask the question. If it goes down at any point during the day and I start it in the morning, does it not start back up again until the next day?
For that particular activity, but it doesn't kick off all your prior activity for getting searches the next day.
Yeah, but the day that I turn the phone back on because it got kicked off, I don't get any searches that day.
If
I'll
you're
have to-
offline for 24 hours, you're going to miss a day.
But less than 24 hours, you won't?
Correct. You might not get a full search. You might not get all the searches you would have if you were connected 24 hours. But
Okay, so if I check it morning and evening until I get confident that they're staying connected, they'll keep the searches going.
yeah, and we've done a lot of the Q&A stuff about what makes them go offline. There's a lot of reasons why your phones come disconnected. One of them is on the cheaper phones, they only have the ability to listen on one channel at a time. So if an alert comes up, it's going to block the channel for Marketing Assistant to operate. So you want to make sure that you disable all the alerts, get rid of all the apps that are not needed. The weather app was particularly problematic because it was constantly sending weather alerts, and that would knock you offline. So that's one of the biggest problems of losing connection is apps sending alerts. So get rid of them, shut them off, all that. The other thing is if they're all on Wi-Fi, a lot of times your Wi-Fi router can only handle so many connections at a time. So let's say you've got your computer on and your TV's on, and you've got your cell phone on, and 3 other people in the house have a connected device, and it can only take 5 connections simultaneously. And now SitePop tries to use that line and it can't get on, so it derails.
Yeah, well, I stripped everything off of the phones. And for those of you who've not yet tried stripping everything off the phone, there is a point where if you strip, and I haven't figured out which one it is, but I'm going to figure it out. All of a sudden the keyboard will stop coming up at the phone. So you can't enter anything in the phone, and you have to go up to the little hamburger on the right and reset all the apps and go back through it again.
Oh yeah, that sounds like one you definitely don't want to eliminate.
Does SitePop need the keyboard, or does it type on your end?
No, you need the keyboard because you're going to have to enter in your codes.
Well, I know, but I mean, once the codes are in, if I go back and strip everything else and the keyboard stops working, am I still going to be okay?
That I don't know. I would imagine yes, but I don't know for sure.
Well, with 8 phones and I'm only using one, I'll have a chance to figure it out, I guess.
My guess is it would be fine because we're using a headless browser to run the searches, and all the activities are coming from our central server. So
Okay.
I'd venture to say you're probably good.
Okay.
But you don't need to delete the app that runs the keyboard. That's a necessary app.
Well, and no, it just turns off by itself somehow when I disabled one of the apps so that it wouldn't. I was turning off the notifications, and then I would turn off, in other words, disable the app, and then power, and then what says force stop. So I was forcing everything to stop, turning it off, shutting it down. And one of them at some point caused only the Google Voice to pop up. And that's of no use when it comes to typing in certain things as well.
That's classic. Yeah, I never went that far. I just deleted all the games and the ancillary stuff that I knew was not needed.
Yeah, the only thing I've got is the marketing assistant, the access to the Play Store so I could download the software, and then the settings thing so I could get in and check all the settings and turn everything on and off. Those are the only 3 things that are functional on the phone as far as I know. But that's when the keyboard disappeared. But if I've got the codes in and it's working and I shut the keyboards off, I'll see if that makes any difference. So, okay. Enough on that. I got number 2. Last week you were talking about a number of the ads and that sort of thing. One of the things you talked about was $60 a month giveaway. And that was the only one that I cannot find so far. You didn't get, I don't know if I didn't get the link right. I wrote it down wrong or whatever.
Gotcha. Okay, so I actually put that one up in the ACT membership as well. And if you go under the traffic tab, it's called free giveaway promos. So there's an actual page for it in there.
Making a note, traffic, free giveaways, right?
Yep, I put her name's Danielle. I put her contact information in there. I put her website. I put all that stuff in there for you.
Terrific. Then the last thing is, could you please explain pixels? The more I study it, the more confused I get. I don't know. Do I have to put, if I'm going to do marketing on 6 different types of paid places, do I have to have each of those 6? Do I have to get pixels from each one of those or something? I mean, how does, I don't get it.
Okay, so what is referred to as a pixel is not really a pixel. It is, but it isn't. It's got a bunch of hidden code to it. It's really like a JavaScript. and it's for tracking purposes, but they are referred to as a pixel. A pixel is one little bit of data. Like your screen is made up of, millions of pixels. So that's just what they happen to call it. But in advertising, they refer to it as a pixel, which is a little strip of code. And like if you get a Facebook pixel, for instance, that Facebook pixel code needs to go on all of your pages of your website. If you get there's another one for Google Analytics, technically that's a pixel code. So you put that again on all of your pages. If you run AdRoll has their own pixel. Now you can wind up getting just a shitload of erroneous code in your website if you add a whole shitload of these pixels. So what you can do, Google has a thing called Tag Manager. And this might be a lot easier for you if you're going to do this in a bulk scenario. Tag Manager it's a box to throw your pixels into. And it's just like Google Analytics. It'll give you a code. You put the code on your website, and now you don't have to put the pixels on the website. You put the pixels in the Google Tag Manager. So let's say if next week you get another advertiser and you need to add a new pixel, all you have to do is open your Google Tag Manager, add it into your Tag Manager, and it will now show up on your website. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yet another place Google's in your business.
They're there anyway. So don't think you're hiding from them. They're just giving you a tool to make it easier.
Yes, they know your toilet paper brand.
So yeah, it took me a long time to really get over the fact that, you when you can't fight them, don't fight them.
Yeah.
If you can't win, there's no reason to fight them.
Well, the interesting thing is they probably do have that agreement with the government, because there was interesting, if you go online and do the research, there was a company prior to 9/11 that was doing metadata analytics and stuff, and they were predicting 9/11. but the NSA didn't like their system because it didn't collect information enough for them. It was only working on metadata. And so they set up their own servers. And as we know, they have that big server now that is literally listening to every phone call on the planet, and recording it and all that sort of stuff. But they intentionally did not go with the one that didn't give them enough information. So I have no doubt, I believe, as Ali said, that they made a deal with the government and they're probably passing all that data plus onto the government. So they have all those records. They're doing it like China does it, only they're doing it a bit more under the radar.
Yeah, it's interesting to me that it's just not brought out in the public anywhere. Nobody talks about it.
Well, it is. I mean, they know, it is known publicly that TikTok is set up by Chinese. It's monitored by the Chinese government, and they are collecting data on everybody that's on TikTok, but people still love to use it. And I guess they just want to feed the Chinese more information. It's very weird.
I don't get that, man. I really don't. But hey, that's what I'm talking about. It's one app I will never load. But anyway, they have so many other, every Chinese company is a portal. I mean, do you guys know Frank, the pillow guy? What's his last name? Frank something. Anyway, his company is the pillow. He's the pillow guy. And he started
the weird Trump butt snorkeler.
Well, I don't know about all that, but he started his own Freedom channel, and it's pretty interesting what gets posted there by really credible people. So yeah, he did a whole thing on last year on how every phone, every chip that's made in China has a little thing that sends all our information there anyway. So it's so over, man. Just. Yeah, you make stuff in China, they get the benefit. So
I think it's always been that way.
yeah, well, until we
John,
stop
you
making shit.
started this phone call about bulk email marketing. One of the things that I thought was rather fascinating, and I've been considering doing it, but I thought I would run it by you and for the benefit of everybody, is that I found a software that will go out and find the contact pages on websites. And it's actually one where I can give them the businesses that I want them to look for to see if they have a contact page on their website. So I can get that 2 to 10 sweet spot you were talking about, rather than just mailing it to everybody.
Mhm.
And I would think, depending on how you approach it and what you feed them, which I'd like to get your feedback on, if you think that's a viable or decent idea in the first place.
Yeah, there's several factors that are going to play into that. One of them being how many pieces of mail you're going to send every day. If you're just going to send like a handful personal emails every day off of that, I don't see any problem with it.
No, it's not an email, John. You go to their website and it fills out the contact form on their website.
Oh,
so
gotcha.
So you're sending one message, and a critical message if you're going to do it.
Yeah, and it's like $1 million for $50, right?
I don't know. I have the software. I can just feed it if I want to.
Oh, okay.
I don't get it, Richard.
I hate those messages when they come to my contact page.
It comes to the contact form it goes to their website, finds their contact form, and fills it out. And
Oh, right. I get those too.
Yeah, I get them too from my website. And I hate when you use my contact form as a sales pitch to get to me. I throw them out.
I never open them either.
Yeah, I would not use that. I would not use it for a sales pitch at all. I would use it as a touch point to try and make a first contact. You're going to piss people off no matter what you do. You're always, if you aren't pissing anybody off, you aren't doing enough.
If you're not getting 10% return, you're not doing anything. You're not working hard.
I mean, there is some truth to that, Richard, that if you're not pissing people off, you're not doing anything. But the effectiveness of it is going to come down to, do you have a big idea, or is it truly just a sales pitch showing up in their email?
John, I'm studying under you. You know it's going to be a big idea, unique mechanism, and find out, and a money back guarantee if it doesn't work, the
Well,
whole thing.
what I would do is I would do it as a curiosity factor thing. And if they are more interested, then they have to reach out to you to continue the conversation.
Yeah.
I wouldn't try
Exactly.
and pitch them something though through it. Cause like Tim said, you see that it's just, okay, another one of these, yeah, no, you're gone.
That's unnecessarily pissing people off. That doesn't count.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you could make it, if you
I-
could specify the contact form content so that, like I work for Dr. Allison, and in her contact we get those things all the time, and I just delete them because it's like that they haven't checked what she does even. So if you could do it where you make an irresistible offer, and it's just it's like a for lack of a better word, a blessing to have gotten it. Like, oh wow, this guy's helping me. Like John does. He'll say, give something to somebody they really want and need. And then that might have somebody answer you back.
Are you
But-
tired of
Yeah,
getting
I have-
messages
I have
like
an-
this in your email?
I
Yeah.
have another software that actually provides all the Google Analytics stuff that Google Analytics has cut out. And it would be calling, and so I would be able to find out which companies are doing Google advertising. I would then specify those company and say, would you like a free report that covers the information that you're not getting from Google on all the advertising you're doing, or something, you know, like you said, that curiosity factor.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. If you can get the curiosity factor and get them to respond and engage, then you're good. But
I'm still confused
That's what I-
about
that's
this,
what I
what you
thought.
guys said about pissing people off. I seem to not have to work very hard at that at all to do it.
The caveat is in the course of trying to make sales or doing legitimate business.
the
Ah,
other
I
thing
didn't know there was a purpose.
the other thing you want to be careful of too, Richard, is if you're using your email to do this.
No, I bought the domain category one mail.com, and then I can do mail one, mail two. I can do that in.
Gotcha. Yeah, just don't do that kind of a scheme on your own email. That's for sure.
Never.
Now there is a company. The reason I ask you if it was $1 million for $50, there's a company, there's a guy on Skype that does this as a service. And he's got mailing lists of the US and non-US, worldwide and US. And he'll do it for, I think his minimum was $50 for 1 million emails delivered through the phones. And that's what you're seeing, Tim, is that guy.
I think that's terrible. I
Right.
like the other one that you referred where it was $500, and they don't send out emails. They send you leads that they generate from your emails. So you're actually buying leads, not just sending bunches of mail.
Yeah, yeah. I just signed up for another one I'm testing out this week. Let me see if I can get the name of it here. It's called Now Site. And
Oh, no, don't do it.
I think I
I
showed you
told
guys
you
this.
about this last year.
Is that what it was?
Yes.
Well, they
Don't
got
do it.
they've got a new thing where they give you an outsourcer that actually does the lead gen for you. And basically it's $98 a month to generate 500 leads.
Mm,
So I'm going to see what the quality of the leads are. I'm going to run it, for a couple of months and see what it does.
okay, well.
But the
I
Now site
dropped
on it.
that. Yeah, I dropped it, I don't know, that's many months ago because of, it just wasn't, anyway, you let me know how it goes for you.
It's using LinkedIn basically. So it's basically going through your LinkedIn account, trying to generate leads based on criteria that you give them.
Yeah, because that's the other thing. That's the other one that pisses Tim off. It's the people who connect with me on LinkedIn and then send me a sales pitch 15 minutes later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've always called LinkedIn you know what I mean? The spam of the internet.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't even look at LinkedIn anymore. I mean, there's probably 1,000 people have messaged me in LinkedIn. And I have not even looked through, and nor probably will I. I get so many
Roger.
link building schemes and handles. It's
Hey, I have a question, you guys, that for John and everybody. So I'm going through ACT and I wanted to know, I'm just thinking about, I have alicevarshall.com and I have alivarshallart.com and a few other variations of that. What do you think I should use to develop out this website? Because
Ali Varshall Art.
I have that one and I bought it for 10 years, a couple of years ago, and I've been working on it ever since. But I'm asking because does that limit me to just art if I wanted to do coaching and classes and things? Or will people know? Just idea.
Your coaching is about art, right?
You're coaching artwork, right?
Well, I have several certifications in different areas, so that's why I was thinking.
Make your coaching about art, Allie. All right, and Allie Martial Art works perfect.
Right, but I'm trying to take into consideration all that John's telling us every week, you know, so I'm always like, oh.
just
So
depends on who you want to be when you grow up.
It depends on your avatar and who you're actually focusing your message on too.
Right, so that's why I was asking. I don't know,
In my opinion, pros are Ali Varshall doesn't limit you. Because you already know that that's a problem because that's the question that you ask. So you know that that's an issue. Ali Varshall Art will tend to categorize you more, but Ali Varshall also the problem is, you know, you're going to have to educate your consumer to recognize your name.
Mhm.
Also, John, remember at one point I had almost 80 or 90 domains, and John says, nope, it should all be under one domain. So I trashed a whole bunch of them because they were just unnecessary and redundant. But the other domains that I do have that are very targeted, I've set up the unique mechanism. I've named some of these white label products that I have. I've given them my own name and I've got the domains for them, but they're all going to point back to their pages on my main website, like John says, so that everything comes into the main website and you have it siloed however you want, with your other domains pointing to the particular silo within your overall domain. That much I do remember and did learn.
Right. That's why I was asking, should I have the umbrella be alivarshall.com or Alice Varshall or Alice Marie Varshall? I don't know. And then, like, I remember John saying it over the, you know, what we've all been here for. But anyway, my point is, and then, like, let's say Ali Varshall Art, do I create that, John and my fellow John mentees? Do I create that and then point it? Like, does it get pointed to like a specific, what do you call it? The avatar is different for Ali Varshall Art, but I still have like my umbrella.com for like coaching. Like, do I make separate things and have everything point to one and they all
Ali?
those different? Yes.
I will jump in real quick and then yield to John for the actual decision. But I would offer at this phase where you're not well known, I don't think on the internet, you haven't done a ton of presence yet on the internet. I would suggest, I agree with Jay, categorizing so that you don't have to educate people on your name is a good idea. I personally like Ali over Alice because Alice Varshall sounds like I'm important person, and Ali sounds like somebody that I would go and meet at Starbucks happily, right? To me. And then the other
what
thing
would
is
you do after that meeting, Roger?
No.
Allie sounds
Our
like
thing
somebody
is-
I would want to flirt
He
with.
would set
Alice
me
sounds
up
like a
with-
restaurant.
But Tim,
I said Allie sounds like somebody I want to flirt with. Alice sounds like a restaurant. Some of you will get that.
For me,
but you can have anything you want. Anyway.
Ali, I was going to say,
That's
as the umbrella or the main website, art, you, in my opinion, come across as an art personality, no matter what it is you're talking about. I feel like your foundation, I'm seeing the nods, your foundation is that you are an artist. Your mentality, your approach to problem solving, everything is through the prism of an artist. And I think that that's a great thing to leverage in your marketing presence. And the nuance of what you use as this domain points to that domain at the outset, I think the most important thing is just pick your voice, your identity that you're going to be on the internet, match that to a great domain, market that domain. Now I weigh in. I yield for others, and I vote for Ali Marshall Art.
So I can tell you fundamentally why you were confused about any of this, Ali. And it's because you're out of sequence. You're in the C before you're done with the A.
Okay.
You're trying to create something out of thin air with no research behind it. You need to figure out who you want to be when you grow up, who you're going to serve, what problem you're going to solve, all that stuff, all the stuff that we talk about. And then once you know that, then you can move into creation and say, okay, how will I represent what I'm trying to do? Because right now you're asking questions fundamentally with no foundation. You haven't figured that out yet. So that's your foundation. A business should be set on a solid foundation, not on sand. And then when people jump into creation, you're just throwing sand up in the air, and wherever it lands, that's going to be your sandcastle.
Yeah. Okay.
Versus engineering a beautiful sandcastle.
Right. Well, like I said, I'm going back through ACT, and I don't know. I had that. I just am dealing with all of it. So
yeah, no, I just wanted to be clear why you're confused about it.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Whenever you jump into creation without a direction, you will have no direction to create. And I know in art that can be okay, but in business, not so much.
Yeah, no. I'm working out the ACT A part. I just wanted to, well, you know what, it helps me because almost all of you like Ali better anyway. So no matter what, it seems more friendly and accessible. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, based on what we all know about you, I think Ali Marshall Art is perfect.
Thank you.
But you just have to figure out what's behind that. What is that going to look like? Who's that for? What's their benefit out of it? All that kind of stuff.
Right. Yeah. And that's what I'm working on, because I have a model that that I really like, or not a model, like a person that's doing business exactly the way I would like to build this out. So
yeah. And something that Roger was putting across there, comes down to packaging. Let's say you wanted to be a life coach under Ali Marshall Art. You could say, I'm going to help you master the most beautiful painting of your life you've ever seen. It's just packaging. And that might really resonate with them. If they were creative type people, they might say, oh yeah, that's awesome. And they might just fall in love with that idea. So the packaging that's your creation.
I hear you guys. Bless you.
I could feel that one coming.
Oh, I see it. Thanks, Jay. Double L's, 1 L, Ali Marshall, Life Artist.
That's a lot to chew there.
Seriously. But,
sorry, I missed the other L.
No, that's okay. I didn't. Sometimes people leave it out just because it's less letters.
I actually thought that was kind of a thing to make it memorable, because you're like, is that missing an L? And it's one of those things where you pay more attention. You're like, oh,
yeah.
I'll remember that forever.
That's what I meant. That's what I meant.
All right. Anything else before we wrap up here?
Yeah, I have one question because in going through ACT and starting with A, is there a place I could jump to that helps me in terms of all the sessions get to the, developing the A quicker?
Not
meat of it?
really. I mean, there's a lot to the A. The A is a very large part of ACT.
Yes, I know.
It's not one thing, and it really starts with that direction of what market segment are you going to focus on first. Doesn't mean it has to be the only one you ever focus on. But when you're looking at ACT is about creating a marketing campaign. And to do that, that's a very engineered, methodical process. So to do that, you really have to have a profitable market segment to begin.
Well, John, I have been listening. So one of the things I want us is the market of the top 50, 75, and 95% income. What do you call that? Market.
Well, that's a demographic.
Earners.
Oh, that's a demographic.
That's a demographic. That's something specific to a group of people. But the segment, a market segment is different. That's like if you take art, there might be a gazillion people that are interested in art. It's too broad, too generic. Now you might take modern art. Now you've got a segment. A segment of that might be modern art sculpture, or people that want to learn about modern art, or people that want to own modern art. So you segment down until you get down to a segment of that is very specific and matches your most profitable. It's like, what of all these segments is going to be profitable? You have to be concerned with that.
Yeah, I'm very concerned with that now.
So like if you go down to the segment of people that want to collect, collectors are a really good segment. People that collect modern art, or whatever kind of art. I don't even know all the different types of art there are, but I'm sure you do.
Oh,
Hey, Allie, since you have an affinity for crypto at the same time right now, why not NFTs?
Well, yes, I have been wanting to learn. I've been doing, I'm like a little bit spread too thin. So I want to learn about NFTs, but one of the things, one of my crypto people told me is that NFTs are the most, ooh, what do you got there, Johnny B?
That's a gold XRP coin.
Nice.
A gold XRP coin. You are awesome.
So this
I
is,
wish look, did I buy it? I'll buy it at market value right now.
so as an artist, you could create something that represented XRP. There's a lot of people that are incredibly passionate about this right now. They will buy stuff. It's just like anything else. Like
Wait, say that again, John, because I'm taking notes. I could create.
So XRP is a community now. People that are purchasing it, they feel as though they have a common bond. And the other thing, especially in ACT that you learn in here, is it's how do they see themselves, and how do they want to be known for something. Like you might sell t-shirts that says, "I'm a proud XRP holder." And I mean, that's probably not the best line you could use, but I'm just throwing it out there as an example.
Something more like here, hold my XRP.
It's they self-identify. They want to be identified as something. They see being an XRP holder as very prestigious. So they want to be identified as that prestige. It's also, and a lot of times in art is an icebreaker for a lot of people. A lot of people collect art to be significant, to say they have something no one else has. So, you know, and these are all in your analysis. These are all your primary drivers of what's going to create demand and desire for them to want to purchase it from you.
But
So
a lot of big companies right now are getting into digital art, like Tiffany's, and some of those people are selling, you know, an NFT, whatever, with a necklace for $50,000.
yeah, I mean, imagine if you took this XRP symbol and made it like the size of my head in a sculpture and made it 3D and bitchin' and gold leafed. You'd probably sell the crap out of those.
Yeah, you mint the digital NFT of it and
Yeah.
sell it. There's these fractional NFT things. I don't know anything about them, but there's all kinds of craziness going on out there right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I mean, that's just a thought, just an example of, you know, the sky is the limit with an
Yeah.
art because you create it.
And
If
every
you-
altcoin has their own community too.
Mhm.
For as many as are passionate about XRP, there's ADA, there's all the other tokens that have been around or that have, you know, have some following that they're excited about it. They're supporters. They're
Even the big
satisfied
ones.
customers.
Yeah, the big ones, Bitcoin and Ethereum. I mean,
Ethereum, Bitcoin.
those people are just fanatical. They're fanatical about it. Fanatical people make a great avatar. They're really easy to sell to. So
It's true.
the thing about this is nothing matters if you don't have a profitable market segment. So find the fanatics, find out what they're into. That's your market segment. And then you start creating within that, creating your artwork, creating the things they're going to sell that they're going to want to buy, creating your marketing around that. That's how you do ACT. You don't really need to go through lesson by lesson. You just need the fundamentals, and you need to just do that.
all right. So thank you. I appreciate all this. And I'm gonna have to brainstorm with you and maybe Jay and you guys, because my brain is melting, because I had ideas about NFTs and somebody discouraged me because, or I allowed myself to be discouraged because they said NFTs, it's like the wildest part of the whole crypto Wild West as it is. And they were like, it's based on like people that are making successful NFTs they have followings and all that. Anyway, I'm working on it, you guys. So any help I greatly appreciate.
If you have something that everyone wants, you don't need a following, it will come. You just need
Well
to figure
said.
out what that is and create it. That's taking advantage of a market segment and using the ACT program to take advantage of it or capitalize on it. We don't want to take advantage of anyone. We want to capitalize on opportunities.
Yes.
All right. Well, let's wrap it on up for this week and
Thank you guys. Thank you.
back on next week, regular time. Hopefully we'll all be here after the hurricane passes and I don't melt.
Yes.
Where's their hurricane?
Coming up Baja, gonna possibly land up as far as San Diego.
Really? Wow.
Hurricanes aren't that big of a deal. Trust me, I've been through them.
No, it won't give us much trouble, but it's just making it hotter than hell here.
Not as bad as like a tornado or a fire.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Fires are worse.
All
John,
right.
thank you
Well,
for-
thanks,
thank
everybody.
you for the last half hour. That was a big last half hour. Thanks much.
Well, cool.
It was
Yeah.
fun.
Happy to help wherever I can. Have a
Thanks,
great
everybody.
week, everybody, and we'll talk to
Bye,
you.
you guys.
Bye. Great seeing
See you,
everybody.
Tim.
Bye
See some
bye.
of you in an hour.
Bye, Warrior.